It says I'm live, so we'll see. You know, got my chat box up, got my thing here. Okay, welcome live from the crossroads of America to a 1 hour talk show about shooting with disabilities. We could also go off tangent. We talk about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind, or our mind, I should say, because I have a great panel normally every week. We will answer questions from the audience. Just put them either in the chat box or email me at Rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I'm broadcasting on gun channels and YouTube. The audio file for this show will be up within 24 hours of the show ending, and all other podcast shows, whatever you wish to call them, every single one of them is up on Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher. So I have a Patreon account. If anybody's interested, the information is below in the info section there on the YouTube. So just wanted to say that. Also, it's I think I have it in my thumbnail for today's show too, I believe. So, all right, let me introduce let's say hi first. Who was first in the room? He's double dipping. We got Patriot in the Dark. Then was Jason Stewart, 2 Live Mood, and Kingpin's in there. He's double dipping. Unknown user is in. How you doing, guys? So, let me introduce my panel. Starting up here in the corner. He's more like doing something, but we'll start with Squibload. How you doing, Squib?
Doing all right if I can find the mute button.
That's all right. Appreciate you being here. Then sitting right next to him on the camera, on my screen anyway, is the one and only Patriot in the Dark.
Well, good evening, everyone.
That's all right. And don't
Thank you for having me.
Load. You know?
I won't pick on.
All right. Then next to you is Blind Shooter. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Rick. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Then dropping down, we got the Kingpin. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How is everybody today?
All right. Great. So let me bring my chat back up. That's the only problem. Who we got? Seven Wonders has joined us. So good to hear you. All right. Shooting with disabilities. I received a great article today. And let me find it. It's called, oh, come on. In the U.S., people with disabilities are 3 times as likely to be victims of serious violence. And it's going on. People with disabilities who live in the U.S. are 2.5 times as likely to be victims of violent crime than those without disabilities, and 3 times as likely to be targets of rape, robbery, or aggravated assault. This data comes from the Federal Bureau of Justice Statistics. That's a mouthful. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, America's Community Survey, 14% of the U.S. population over 12 years old has a disability. A large portion of that group is elderly, 42%, compared to 12% of the general public. So, anyway, they rate the so-called violent, disabilities 32.3 per 1,000 compared to 12.7 per 1,000 for those without. You know? So basically what it's saying here, the biggest, by the looks of it, the largest disability or the largest attack is simple assault, 19.6%. It goes on down explaining all this stuff, you know, who is the worst offenders or who is the worst target. Disabilities are classified according to 6 limitations: hearing, deafness or serious difficulty hearing, vision, blindness, or serious difficulty seeing even when wearing glasses. Cognitive, is that how you pronounce it? Serious difficulty in concentrating, remembering, or making decisions because of a physical, mental. Yes, that's the word.
Cognitive.
Yes, thank you. Or emotional condition. Next one is ambulatory. AMBULATORY.
Ambulatory.
Yes. This is what I fall under. Difficulty with walking or climbing stairs. Self-care, a condition that causes difficulty dressing or bathing. And independent living, physical, mental, or emotional conditions that impedes doing errands alone, such as visiting a doctor or shopping. All right. The worst one, the one that's attacked the most, is that word I can't pronounce for the cognitive. How you pronounce it, Squib?
Cognitive.
Yes. With 59.9 per 1,000. Then comes in independent living. Then people who can't walk. Then comes in vision. So this is one of the reasons that I've said many times before is why I took up firearms, because I started to feel more vulnerable. I can't talk tonight, so you just have to put up with me. Humans are animals, and this is from unknown user. Humans are animals, and they do work on the process of natural selection. Predators go for easy targets. That's why the Second Amendment is so vital. I agree with you. So there we go. We got Travis T has joined us. Kinky Splinster has joined us. And even Gun Websites has joined us. All right. So I mean, because where I'm going with this, a friend of mine used to say to me in Rhode Island, and besides, well, you have a gun for, nobody's gonna bother you, because you're. This is when I was using my scooter a lot more than I am now. You're going around in a scooter, nobody's gonna bother you, And I said to her, I'm more likely to be attacked than you are, because they think I'm an easy target. And so that's why I took up firearms, had training and all that to be able to use it. So, and I think it's a good thing. If you're able to have a firearm and able to use it, I believe you should. If your state requires you to get a license, CCW or whatever you wish to call them, I would recommend getting one. Because you never know. I mean, even out here, I was talking to my cousin next door. I mean, she says I don't have any guns, but she grew up on a farm. She said I don't have any guns. I just don't want any, but I don't. She's a big Second Amendment supporter. She says, but they shouldn't take. I mean, just because I don't want them doesn't mean they should take them away from everybody. She said, it's our right to have them. But she was saying, but what's the chances of it happening out here? I said, out here in the middle of nowhere. I said slim to none. But when that slim to none comes pounding on my door, I want to be ready for it. It might never happen, but there's always a chance it will. Because you read stories all the time where you think people who are safe in gated communities and all this kind of stuff, they get attacked. It happens, even in the safest place. So that's one thing. I want to know what you think about it, that article and all that kind of stuff. Patriot in the Dark.
Oh man, yeah, I read through it briefly. There were two other articles. I could send them once I mute up here. It's It's true. I mean, I've brought that up before where, if I'm walking down the street, my age, whatever, with a cane, and I'm walking with a white stick, and there's a older lady carrying a grocery bag, then there's, a middle-aged guy, and then a 20-year-old walking down the street. Who are they going to, victimize or think they can victimize? And that's kind of one of the things that's positive with me carrying, because I'd be the last one in that situation you would think would be carrying a firearm, and so there is that thing that's why I don't open carry. But I don't know. It's disturbing for sure. Especially you get older people that go to nursing homes and things like that. So you always have situations where people think that it's they're easy prey and stuff. And I know of several homes or even retirement places that ban firearms.
That's what I was
in my
thinking about
area
myself too.
And it's they've got the communities where it's a condo or whatever, everything's taken care of, and they have community centers and everything like that. But it doesn't. Anybody can drive in there. Anything can happen. That kind of thing, and especially in those kind of places, it's concerning. Obviously, that if you're limited by your lease or something like that, that might be something you want to check into before signing up for a place or something. But the ones that are the cognitive, obviously that's an issue. I mean, especially with all the stuff that they've been talking about lately, throwing everything under mental illness and things like that. Obviously, there may be some limitations with that, but that's why there's family, I guess. I don't know. Each situation is obviously different, but it's something to pay attention to. Because I mean, a lot of people, you think about it. Sure, they, TV shows and movies, all that kind of stuff. They always talk about, the criminals trying to break into the blind guy's house or whatever. And there's been movies and all that kind of garbage. But do you really notice that in the news? I mean, I guess in big cities you might hear about it more, because I really don't, locally or anything. But there's bad people and evil people that do that all the time, and it's not only in big cities. I mean, it's local. I mean, you hear about nursing homes and whatever. So I don't know. It's definitely something that you need to think about. And if you do have somebody that's old that's going into a place, at least be around more or whatever you can do. I don't have answers for that kind of stuff, but.
All right, appreciate it. I put the link into that article I was reading in the chat, if anybody's interested. Oh, so
One of the
what was that, Kingpin?
I was asking. You said you put one of the links out in the chat. You were breaking up there for a second.
Yes, I put a link out in the chat for that article I was reading.
Oh, all right, cool. Okay, I saw that.
Okay, yeah. So, blind shooter, how do you feel?
What's up?
I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, you're in a tough situation. You fall in one of those categories, but because of the state you live in and the city you live in, it puts you in a tough situation. You actually have to go around there. Well, I mean, you don't have. I guess you can carry less than lethal weapon.
Yeah, I mean, we can carry less than lethal, but it's also, they say you can't carry your gun out in public. But if you carry conceal, who's to say they know you have it?
Exactly.
And I'm of the. Go ahead.
Am I breaking up?
I think you were trying to talk when I was, but go ahead, Rick. You're good.
No, I was saying I agree with you. I mean, do you feel? I mean, I reckon do you feel a threat in your community, or you feel pretty safe?
It depends. My neighborhood's gotten pretty dodgy over the past couple of months because they've allowed the criminals to get away with a lot more, and they don't allow the police department to do their job anymore.
No.
But I mean, again, I don't give two shits what the law is. I'd rather be judged by 12 and share a cell with Bubba than be carried by 6.
That makes sense. I agree with you. Oh, if I'm breaking up, or I know my picture is looking fuzzy or whatever, that's because it's not the platform. This Chambers guntube.org. It's my internet service. It's so pitiful that it's one of the downfalls of living out in the country like this. But back to what you were saying, Patriot. Even though you definitely have to look if you're going to move into one of the even assisted living or one of these homes or whatever, is because some of them will have no guns allowed. If it's a private organization, I think they can get away with it. But I think if it's government run, I believe there's been a couple of court cases that says you can't do that because you're restricting a person's right.
That kind of brings up that guy that I believe is living in Section 8 housing, which is the government funded or backed.
Yeah.
And he was in a wheelchair, and people kept breaking and stealing his medication. And somebody broke in, and he held him by, I don't know if he shot him or if he just held him until the cops got there with I believe a shotgun. And then they were trying to go after him because that was, he wasn't supposed to have a firearm or something. I don't know what happened with that case though.
Yeah.
But that was last year or something?
Yes. I know there was a couple cases. I remember reading something with the Second Amendment Foundation took them on. So they must have gone to at least state Supreme Courts where they're held at, and I know they won a couple saying that you can't do that. Not in a government thing. It's denying a person's right. But I said that's something you need to check into if you're going to do that. Because I'll be honest with you, what I said I told everybody, my new landlord jacked my rent up $250 in one go, and I'm so mad. I can still afford it, but it's the principle of the way he done it. When he took over, he came in here all smiles, saying, "Yeah, this is your rent. You wanted me to sign the new monthly lease. We're going to do monthly leases," he said. So you just got to sign the one, and it's good. So he gets all smiles, all teeth. I sign it. Off he goes. 7 days later, I get a letter in the mail saying my rent went up. I thought, you goddamn bastard. You don't even have the goddamn balls to say it to my face.
But that goes for anybody, I think, that's going to go to, changing your location. If you're going to end up renting or, whatever the situation is, verify. Because there are a lot of people that in the bylaws and stuff, I'm sure there's, just condo wherever there's condos and stuff that they have bylaws with like an association.
Yeah.
They may have that in there. Because, like my association said I couldn't have a flagpole. I told them to pound sand, and I put up a 30-foot one. So they haven't said anything about it, and they're not about to, I'm sure. But I'm sure they have, people add that kind of stuff in there. So
yeah. Well, when the landlord came that day, I just got home from being out, and I had my 45 strapped to my hip. He didn't say anything, so.
Well, that's probably why he was all smiles and just nodded and walked out.
Yeah, he said, "I'm raising it $250." He was afraid I was going to shoot him, But where I was going with this is, when that happened, there is a place in the next town, right? It's Section 8 housing, which because I'm disabled, I can jump to the front of the list, And of course, the rent's based on how much you earn and all this kind of stuff. But I didn't check into the gun thing. But that's what's stopping me from looking. maybe I should call them and ask them. You know, it's just because I ain't giving up my guns to go. I tell you what I would do before I did that. I would buy me an old Class C RV and live in that. Screw it. You know?
Well, now, do you have to tell them that you have guns when you apply for Section 8?
I don't know about that, and I think
I don't know about
think
that, but
if
it might be in my. As I said, there was a court case and the person won it, but I don't know if that was just in that state. I can't remember where it was, or that was for all government. I mean, because I don't. It wasn't the United States Supreme Court that it went to. I think it went to a state Supreme Court. So it could be used as a what? What's the
precedent.
word for? Yes, that's it. Hang on, we got a couple of questions here or statements in the chat. Let's see, we got Sean Connery's in the house, and he's talking about his dog being pregnant. So, okay, unknown user. Luckily, we have had two attacks in the last year inside doctors' offices. One was a murder in a dentist office. I now ignore the no gun signs and carry my doctor's appointments. Oh wow! See, I don't. I went to the doctor's last week, and I left my firearm in my truck, in the safe under the seat. You know, I mean, the reason I said I did that is because if they ever tell me to drop my pants because they want to, squeeze my nuts and go cough, I didn't want my gun, falling out or whatever, or scaring the nurse or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So. Yoder, Texas says, I believe that Patriot can use the excuse that he didn't see the no gun sign. Yeah. I don't know if that'll fly or not.
Till they start doing X-rays.
Yeah. So, but, you have any input on this, Kingpin? I know you're big, strapping, physically able guy.
Yeah, I'm huge.
Huge.
The thing with the retirement homes and the nursing homes and continuing life care places is the vast majority of the crimes that are committed at those places are committed from within inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the neighborhood thug is hopped in their car and rode over to the old folks' home to do some dirty deeds. Most of that stuff happens internally, which is another reason why grandma should be able to have a gun in her little apartment, because when the tech comes in and starts pushing her around and taking her checks and doing all this other kinds of foul stuff that they do to those people, she should be able to defend herself. Right now, all they do is they push them around and then threaten them with, well, you can get kicked out of here if you want. I can make up a bunch of stuff about you. But I'm not going to go too deep into that. The corruption in there is more problematic than the criminals outside. But this whole study leads exactly to the point that I always try to make. Criminals are not that sophisticated. Your average everyday thug on the street or two-bit hustler or whatever you want to call it aren't like you see in the movies. They're not planning things out. They're not, well organized and all this other kind of stuff. They're really, really unsophisticated. So naturally, they're going to attack weaker people. And don't buy into the myth that the bully is weak. And if you punch the bully in the face, he'll leave you alone. Because a lot of times when you punch the bully in the face, the bully beats the crap out of you. So that's another thing to remember is these unsophisticated thugs don't care. And they don't mind smashing some old lady in the head with a stick to take 50 cents out of her purse. Because that's the kind of person that they are.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you there. Unknown user says, I pocket carry so I can drop my pants without an issue. Now, that's a good point. Maybe that's what I should do. My little, even if it's only my, put my carry gun in the safe, but put in my pocket my little 22 Magnum that I got. Maybe that's what I should do. Good thinking there, unknown user. Oh, let's see what we going here. Gun website says I am also worried about going to dentist murdering me, so I don't go to the dentist. Raphael says a dentist made me poor. I know what you're talking about there. I had a bunch of dental work done years ago when I was still working and way before my accident. And oh my God, it cost. I mean, I had to get a loan to pay for the damn thing. You know, it was outrageous. So I totally understand where you're coming from. But then again, you moron had gold teeth and diamond studs put in and all kinds of stuff. You know, Raphael. So because that's the kind. You know, I've seen pictures of you. You're one of those suave, sophisticated type guys.
Coming from the guy that got the gold pistol the other day.
Yes, I got it right here. Here it is. I went. Oh, unknown user. I forgot to. I took my phone with me, but I wasn't going shooting. But I happened to. I was driving down the road, and I looked at my watch, and I said, "Oh, I got 30 minutes before I have to go to where I needed to be." So I done a quick detour and went over to the shooting range. I mean, I fired 24 bullets. Because these are 8. These magazines hold 8. So I filled it. I shot 3 of them, and then got back in the truck and drove off. So it wasn't really a filming situation, but I will do one of it. So I just wanted to let you know. Okay, well, he's hiding behind the chat box here. But you got any input on this stuff, Squib?
Probably nothing anybody wants to hear.
Go for it. Come on. I like
don't know.
listening to you.
Just seems like a lot of this seems to be moving more towards somebody's mental capacity, not their physical capacity.
What's moving that way?
Well, some of the descriptions of the situations where somebody who's disabled would employ a firearm to defend themselves. If you're in an old folks home where you've got to be wheeled around in a wheelchair to all your doctor's appointments, to every meal, you've got to have somebody clean your room and do your laundry and bathe you and everything else. The kind of people that work there that are going to be rifling through your purse, stealing your money, stealing your jewelry, are also going to steal your gun. So I'm not really sure what exactly is being talked about.
Yeah, not everyone in a retirement community is completely subjected to needing all that kind of help. I would imagine that somewhere along the lines that if grandma's in that bad a shape, her children removed her firearms from her, just like they did her driver's license.
Like when they dump me at the VA home so the government can finish me off, I'm hoping that my kids or my grandkids take my firearms and take my tools and take all the other things that I've got that are important to me, valuable to me, and things that I want to pass on, hand down, assuming we still have the Second Amendment at that point and everything else, and have them get some use out of them as well. But I mean, if you're just living at home alone, even if you're not driving, but you still are cognizant of what's going on, you have cognitive skills, you know what's going on. You're not forgetting your name every 5 seconds. Then you still have the mental capacity to know when and how to defend yourself. So I'm not sure, because some of the things you guys were talking about sounded like these people that I've gone to these old folks' homes to visit relatives. And I mean, they can't even walk. They can't. They look at you and they go, "I remember you, but I don't know your name." And so
that's not what we're talking about, though.
Okay, well that's what it just sounded like to me.
Yeah.
We're talking
No,
more
because
assisted living than nursing home.
yeah, that's just basically you can go and like they were trying to push Wally on Gran Torino to go to that assisted living so he can didn't have to mow his lawn, right? I mean, there's a lot of yuppies that don't mow lawns, and when you can retire, as in retirement home that has a golf course attached.
Yeah, that's a retirement community. That's not assisted living.
Oh, no,
Okay.
they have them where, yes, some of these places, they have people that will come in and check on you.
Yeah,
That's assisted living.
Now they have a wide variety, but all I was saying is when you go to one of those places, and whatever, you can have a guy that comes in or a nurse that comes in and checks on you once a day just to make sure that you cook. Because there's a lot of old people that don't know how to cook, just like there's a lot of people that are young that don't know how to cook. So there's different situations. Yes, if you're where. Hang on, I have a company.
Okay. I mean, even if you move into a nursing home because you got to have an injection in your backside every day, so a nurse has to come in and do it. It's that kind of thing. You move into assisted living to make your life easier. Doesn't mean that you're not. I mean, doesn't mean you can't walk out and jump in your car or truck and go down the shooting range. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, I guess I've never seen any place that's called assisted living where you can do that, so I just misunderstood your definition.
Okay, no problem.
I'm serious. We've got some really nice assisted living communities around here for people at different stages at that point in their life. Some that are semi-independent and some that are in almost a vegetative state. And they might be at different ends of the complex where somebody's got a studio apartment. They can come and go as they please, but they're definitely not driving out of there having a gun. But there are other people they couldn't get up if they wanted to. So I don't know. Anything else I would call it a retirement community. And yeah, it's the place that has the golf course and it's a gated community and they mow your lawn and all this other stuff. But you still go about your day-to-day business. I mean, it's more like a homeowners association. So
yeah, but I would check into that too. But I said that's something that we need to look into if you're moving into something like that you can. I mean, what happens if sorry, I was checking an email that came in. What happens if you buy?
Yeah.
I mean, can those housing associations say you go buy a house, but it's attached to a condo, and it's part of a housing association? What happens? Or does that fall under the other law? Can they say no guns allowed in these
sure,
apartments?
they can say no guns. They can say no loud motorcycles. They could say nobody out having their kids out playing after dark. They could say no dogs over a certain size or no dogs at all. They could make any sort of rules. So
Yep.
I mean, it's about doing your due diligence.
Yeah, that's all I was saying is make sure you check before you move into a place.
Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying though. Like, again, they don't have to know you have it, so.
Yeah,
It's not like they're coming doing spot inspections.
That's
But what
why I sent you
happened-
that email there, Rick. That was the guy in Maine and how much headache he had afterwards after, he had one and they didn't know about it.
Well, I think you sent me the wrong link.
I sent you two.
You did?
I think so.
I got one here that says about Section 8.
Yeah, that was supposed to be.
Yeah, well, that one has nothing to do with it. So you sent me the wrong one.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, I'm a blind guy. So
Yeah, I know.
Can't hold me to the
There
same
you
standard.
go. You throw that damn card. You throw that damn card out there every time.
Listen to the guy who's least likely with a disability to get attacked.
Yeah. See.
So.
That's
Yeah. So I mean that's. Hey,
I would say if it was a rule when you signed the lease or signed up for it, or joined it, or paid your fees or whatever it was, then it's a rule. If they add it after the fact, I would think you could fight it to say your grandfathered in. That's not just on guns. That would be on the flagpole or anything.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to look at the bylaws because it's a whole big packet that you have to sign before you move to association. You know, and some associations they make these little rules and then you never see the guy. But some of them will actually, you know, hey, you got a fenced in yard, even though it's just decorative and it's only 3/4 of your yard, you know, but it's 2 foot longer than it's supposed to be, so you have to take it down. So there
I
are
mean,
things like that. It's just one of those things to check out in before you know, sign up and buy a house. And
yeah, I mean that's no
like you're
different than the
renting.
township ordinance that says I can't have a pit bull or a pit bull mix, or that I can't discharge anything in the backyard, not just a firearm, a BB gun, bow and arrow, anything. It's just like
Potato
the
cannon.
township ordinance.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll find a way to put that in there. If they'll put in a BB gun, I mean, jeez. But I choose to live where I live, you know, for other reasons.
Yeah, real quick, interrupt this conversation. I've gone international. We have Sabrina Menken. I think that's how you pronounce her last name.
Yes. Hello.
I can't follow everything because I don't know the laws, etc. in the U.S. Here in the Netherlands, it's not allowed. There is a shooting sport. The rest is weapons illegal. I do know how it feels to feel threatened and unsafe. So there you go. See. I mean, it's we don't know how. Even though we're talking about watch where you go, we don't know how lucky we are over here to be able to have this right to have the weapons, which they're trying to take away from us. I didn't want to get too political, and I don't plan on it in this show. I'm saving that for Saturday. But you know, so. It is nice for you to stop by. If there's if anything you don't understand, just type it in. Just type it in the chat, and we'll try to answer it for you. You know,
She's very nice.
I don't know. It's not as scary and dangerous in the U.S. as maybe we're trying to make it sound. These are, you know, crime is going down all the time, but you got to imagine there's 50 million people in this country. So it's got to happen. If everybody was nice, we wouldn't need a police force.
Let me run this one past you, Rick.
Okay.
Seeing how you've lived in England for so long. I've got some friends. They're American citizens now, but they did come over here from England. They got their citizenship legally. And one of them has family that refuses to come over here to visit them. As many different family members that have come over here on vacation to see them, and they've shown them around and done all this stuff. They have some that refuse to come over here at all because they know what America's like, because they've seen American TV shows and everybody here's a cowboy with a gun, and they're not going to come over to such a dangerous place. Now, can you validate that? Are there people over there that actually believe that crap?
There is people that believe it is, especially in the cities and stuff, that it's dangerous and people are killing everybody. Yeah, not so much the cowboy thing, but yeah,
from TV shows.
It's TV shows. I mean, back in the 70s. I remember seeing. TV shows always, does. America, because the way even like Dragnet, right? It was always about getting the bad guy. There's a bad guy every goddamn Friday night. You know what I'm saying?
But you're missing that right now. There's cable TV. There's news running 24 hours a day. And what is the only thing you see on news is how horrible it is, how the violence is just crazy. We got 600, we got 700, mass murders a year so far. It's nuts. So, if that's all they see is just the news, and let alone, Skynet or whatever they listen to over there, the BBC or whatever,
Yeah.
and the slant that they're going to put on it, because they're not going to make America look good. That kind of.
No, then you have that idiot Pierce Morgan spewing his anti-gun rhetoric over European TV.
And so if you don't have somebody that's actually talks to or knows anybody, I mean, just the things you watch on cable TV has got to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. There's probably places in the world that I wouldn't frequent now just because of, um, I wouldn't take a boat out of Newport Beach, California, because I'd end up on an island with Gilligan.
Hey,
So that came to mind. I'm sorry.
I mean, there are some countries I would be hesitant to go to myself now.
I want to
You know?
question that just for a second, though, Patriot.
Yes.
What if you were taking the 4-hour tour or the 2-hour tour?
It depends.
Would it have to be a 3-hour tour?
No, the real question is Ginger or Marianne?
I was heading
Oh,
for
right,
that, but
okay.
I figured I would wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, hang on. Sabrina said there's like 17 million in the Netherlands. In the news, you hear a lot of stuff, but not only in the U.S. Here in the Netherlands, it happens a lot too. So crime. See, that's it. I mean, as gun websites are saying, the media here choose to focus on the negative things in the country of 340 million, and that's what it is. So,
But you can walk outside at night and not have any worries. And, I mean, there's certain places obviously that are bad, but this
yeah.
is the safest it's ever been. I mean, you're more apt to get hurt, back in the Roman times than you are now.
Yeah, but it goes back to what we were saying with like check your leases and stuff if you're renting or going in assisted living or a nursing home and all this. And if you're still able, if you still got the capabilities of carrying and stuff, you need to check all this because chances, as I said, the chances of you getting hurt, especially out here in the country where I am, is slim to none. But I'm going to be prepared. You never know what might come up. I mean, like the other night, I'm walking. As I said, my cousin lives next door, so I'm cutting across the backyard from her place to mine, and the neighbor has a big old. It's a big old. I'm trying to think what it is. It's like a Rockwell. It's a mixed breed. Big old thing, real heavy, deep bark. It comes charging across the yard at me, but I happen to know it. I happen to know his name's Gunner, and I yelled at him. I said, "Shut the hell up, dog!" or "Shut the hell up, Gunner!" And he did. He backed off because he knew anyway. He come up sort of back. He didn't have a tail because it's been cropped. He come up wiggling his backside, happy to see me, But where I was going with this is, I had my little 22 in my pocket. So if anything was coming at me, I would have shot the dog if it wasn't him and I didn't know who it was. So
we also had the added benefit of, so what? I want a gun because guns are super, super cool. The history of guns are cool. The mechanics of guns are cool. The ballistics of guns are cool. The reloading, the calibers, the difference. I mean, everything. The sights. There's so much cool stuff about it. It's no different than I like classic cars.
absolutely.
Like guitars. It's just why does the government have a right to tell me what I can enjoy and what I can't?
Exactly.
Well, G Web says, "Oh, he's mad because I said about shooting a dog." Yeah, I know you're a dog owner there, G Webs. I love dogs too, but I said if a big old, 150-pound dog comes charging at me with his teeth thing, me getting knocked over and ripped up, I'm sorry, it's gonna happen, So, hell.
And let the hate mail from Peter come in.
I'm going to change the subject real quick.
Let's change subject. But you're talking about guns there, Kingpin. You're right. I mean, like my new 380, the gold one. I bought it, because I wanted it and because of the arthritis in my hands and stuff. But I bought it because it's a great looking gun. It looks great. I mean, like my 1911 I have. You know, I know it's just a Rock Island 1911, but it is a beautiful looking gun. It's a sexy looking gun. It really is. And I can sit there and sort of like caress them, no problem, with the oilcloth in my hand, getting them all nice and shiny and shit. I love doing that, and I love, as you said, reloading that aspect of gun ownership. Yes, originally my original reason for buying one was for protection, but once I got into it, started having lessons. I actually had lessons, training lessons, whatever. I remember the first 3 times I went to shoot a gun. I the instructor supplied everything. I didn't even own a gun then, you know. So I would go up there and use hers, and as I was learning this stuff, I was learning more about it, and I was researching online. Of course, I mean, when you search for gun stuff on YouTube, what you call it? One of the main ones, Hickok 45 will show up because he's one of the biggest gun guys out there. What's he got? Nearly 5 million subscribers now. You know, so I used to watch a lot of his. I mean, even I even used to watch Yankee Marshall when I first started 4 years ago. You know, but to learn all that and listening to you guys, I learned so much. About the ballistics and all that kind of stuff. But it's a great firearms are great, and they shouldn't take them away from us. They really should.
And you don't need an excuse to like them or have them or collect them. It's just like collecting spoons. Well,
yeah,
it's more fun. I enjoy it more.
Yeah, I'd like to know. I'd really like to do an investigation on anybody who's collecting spoons. I mean, once you get like a couple silver spoons, what else are you gonna get?
Like Paul Revere's made spoons would be kind of cool because then you could sell them and buy a whole bunch of firearms.
Wasn't he a silversmith or something like that? Oh, right, real quick. I want to do the contest for this Saturday. Besides the hook and brush set that was donated by Tony York, is the prize. Plus, I threw in here my sticker and a couple of other stickers. But that was the prize. And and the people who won, I normally mail them once a month, so I don't know. I know I got a blurry picture, but they're sitting back here ready to go to the post office. They're all done, ready to go. So, anyway, the question. This is an email quiz now, so don't go be putting 42 in the chat because that's not the answer. All right, where's the question? Okay, yes, it's to do with TV in the pilot episode of the show SWAT. Is that what it was called? SWAT? Yeah, it's still on now. In the pilot episode, and
that's not the same SWAT. It's not the same one.
Well,
are you talking about SWAT from the 70s?
No, I'm talking about SWAT with what's his name? I can't think of his name now. The actor's name. Big black dude.
Shamar Moore.
Hit that no.
All right. See, when you say SWAT, I'm thinking of SWAT from the 70s.
No, in the pilot episode, several members of I gave a hint. Actually, I was reading the answer out before I stopped myself, so I'll give it to you guys too on Wednesday. Several members of the team, their rifles they were carrying were HK. That's all I'm saying, right? And what I want to know is the female in the team called Chris carries one in the pilot episode. But what I want to know is actually what we know what the make is. I want to know the model, and I want to know what was different about hers. So that is the question in the TV series SWAT. The rifles they were carrying. The brand was HK, but I want to know the model number, and I want to know what was slightly different about the one the character Chris was carrying. So email me Rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Get them into me by lunchtime Eastern, Saturday. What were you saying, Sarah?
I've got that giveaway I totally forgot about.
All right.
It was for the next generation. People were supposed to look at the next generation on Clover Tech's channel about all the Utes out there doing great things and that they're our future. And you were supposed to pick out one and then come back and throw a comment in with the name of the kid and what they use. If it's a pistol, shotgun, rifle, archery, bowling ball, whatever. Yeah. Right? And I had 3 people enter. So because of that, I'm actually going to make it. I'm not going to tell you what the prize is until after we pick the winner. Okay, so there's 3, so you have to randomly pick a number 1 through 3 for me.
2.
2.
2. All right. Yeah. 2. That would be. Are you serious? Well, I guess I don't need it. I guess I don't need an address.
Unknown user?
No, he didn't. He just left a comment, but he didn't leave a. All right, hang on. Here we go. I'll even get the kid. Well, I would say it's Scott F1, of course, right? Again. Yes, with Bryce Jones was the Ute. So make sure you go over and check out those videos. And Scott F, let me know your T-shirt size because I'm going to send you a Patriot in the Dark T-shirt if you'd like one. So make sure you email me over at patriotinthedark@gmail.com. And there was many. You had a week and a half or a week or so to put that in. So if you didn't do it, that's on you.
Yeah, so, I know.
Go over and do somebody else's giveaway where they give you a sticker and
yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
No, you're giving away T-shirts. But I'm not sponsored like you, though. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not sponsored either. Dude, I'm.
Since when does Patriot have T-shirts?
I've always had T-shirts. All you got to do is look at the description. It's listed on every description. And if you...
I can't, I'm blind.
If you can't look at the description? I put it in the description. Oh, well, don't you use a screen reader?
I have an account at Spreadshirt myself.
Yeah.
You know, for T-shirts, coffee mugs, travel mugs, and all that.
Yeah, you know? I've got 2 designs. One design I still need to edit. Anyways, that's a long story. But I do have shirts over there. It says Patriot in the Dark over there at spreadshirt.com. But it is in all the descriptions and stuff. But
yes.
Yeah.
I got all that stuff over there too. It's all down in the description down below on YouTube there. Just press where it says more info and a whole bunch of stuff comes up. You know? So just wanted to mention that. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to our topic. I want to say, I don't know, Angela's in the house, I see. I don't know if Sabrina's still here, but I appreciate you joining us from the Netherlands. It makes me feel special, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. So my little channel here, you know. So yeah. So what were we discussing? Disabilities, carrying firearms. You know, just be sure if you happen to move or you're in a rented place. Even in a rented place, the landlord might say no to guns. But as Blind Shooter says, what they don't know don't hurt them. You know, but the question is, can you afford, if say they say no guns allowed here, and just for argument's sake, somebody comes in to fix your blocked sink. It's a contractor comes in, and he's over there, and he goes see the landlord, hands him the bill, and he happens to say, hey, that guy's got some nice guns over there in that apartment. Then you're screwed. Then your landlord comes over and says, there's no guns allowed. I want you out here in 30 days. That's the things at our age. Well, you're not as old as I am, blind shooter. But at my age, that's the kind of things you got to look out for, So.
Yeah, I'm just a huge supporter of break the law when you can.
All right. Has anybody else got anything else you want to talk about? Real quick before we go through the shouts and plugs and all that good stuff, because it's almost quitting time. And I'm going to have I'm going to throw some burgers on the grill tonight.
Nice.
It's dark out already. It's warm as son of a bitch here this week. We're still up in the high 80s here, and humid. It's my AC's still running. You know what I'm saying? It's
all that global warming.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, I believe I think I don't know. Is there Next Generation tonight?
Yeah, it was pre-recorded. I think he already released it.
All right.
You can find that on the main page of Gun Channels.
Okay.
It is listed on there.
All right. That's good. Then we got Never Enough Ammo. Then we got Rants and Raves after that. Oh, is he back from studying yet?
Bloke.
A bloke's 2 cents worth? Or whatever. Is he back on yet?
I don't know. I think he had a show posted for tonight, but I don't know.
Okay. There you go. So anyway, let's start up here in the top corner. I'm going to catch him out again. Squidload. Any shout outs or plugs?
No.
Thank you for being here. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Patriot. Shout outs, plugs.
Yep. You see my new logo? That little purple circle? Yeah, that's I got to get with that those higher ups at
because if I
GunTube.
put my camera off, I'm seeing my avatar. I don't know if you guys are.
I think it's using the app and not logging in. It just pulls me directly into your thing or something.
Okay.
I don't know. But yes, make sure you check out the Next Generation. It's important to get some smiles. Look at these kids and get inspired and stuff. There are a lot of kids that are doing this, and it's not all participation trophies and all that other nonsense. There are people out there that don't just play on video games. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it is nice to see them actually get out and use firearms. And archery. That's for my daughter because she is watching. So everyone say hello, daughter.
Okay.
I can hear
now,
you.
Hang on. Sabrina said there is one city here in the Netherlands that decided that if a neighbor tells the police someone has a gun, they will be. I'm not sure what she's got. She put retarded here, but I don't think that's what she meant. With money till 700 euros. Will be fined?
Yeah, fine.
That's more like what she means.
Yeah.
So, and our wonderful overlords with the algorithms decided to censor that chat too. I had to approve that message.
Oh yeah.
Just so everybody knows. Normally
Yeah.
I wouldn't, unless it's something ridiculous. Like if somebody puts in something that sounds like a curse word or something like that, I don't mention it. But when it's a everyday statement like that, that was held for whatever reason. And
Okay.
I don't care what reason it was held for. There's no reason to hold that text.
Yeah, that's.
Well, we misunderstood it, but no, the person who told the police gets rewarded.
Oh, reward. Okay.
Up to 700 euros for squealing. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's kind of how they're teaching some of the Utes.
yeah.
I know in public schools they push that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, but things aren't that bad. I mean, you know, things. I think with the Supreme Court coming up with the election and everything else, with the Supreme Court, we got the New York case. From what I can understand, they're waiting to see what happens in the New York case before they start, hitting the Supreme Court with a bunch of other stuff. So I think it's looking good for the Second Amendment. I really do. Even though it sounds bad right now, federally, I think we're looking good. As I said Saturday, it's the states that are killing us right now. It's all these little state laws that are crippling us. So
all the pressure's on blind shooter.
Good example. I know I haven't stopped on the thing, but I just wanted to mention this. Talking politics, that article with the ATF admitted that they couldn't do that ban. Now they're saying it was just a recommendation or something. Where the bump stocks. So even if that's federally, they're saying, well, okay, bump stocks aren't illegal anymore, and it goes that far. It's not going to help states like New York. I think New York has banned them. So even though the federal government says bump stocks are fine, but your state has banned them, your state trumps it. So just wanted to mention that. Anyway, blind shooter. Any shout outs or plugs? He's walked off on me, isn't he? There he is. Blind shooter, can you hear me? Talk to me, blind shooter.
You broke up, Rick. I couldn't hear you.
Any shout outs or plugs?
No plugs this week. Thanks for having me as always. Really enjoy it.
Okay, thanks. And Kingpin.
Always a pleasure, Rick. Thanks for having me. See everybody Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. The only time zone that matters.
That's right. And that's it. I will be back again for the normal. Normally, it's a wrap up of what's happened during the week, politically, gun wise, or whatever. But if you got anything you want to talk about, send me an email at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. And we will bring it into the chat on Saturday. And I'll be back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. So, and also this Saturday, I'm going to that old Eckerty days. But from what I understand now, talking to my cousin, she wants to go in the morning. So I will more likely be back way before the show starts. So I decided I'm going to go for 3 o'clock, but it might be 5 o'clock. I might be late, but I will have the show on Saturday. I'm gunning for 3, but I might be a little late. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But I will be here. So I want to say thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys all later. So goodbye, everybody, or good night, everybody.
Never Fear the Dark.
Trump 2020.